In this video, I'd like to look at a bash script that is going to download a zip file which contains fonts, unzip that file, move it to the right location, and then run the commands to install that font. The font I'm going to bring down is like Go Big, and what I'm showing here is I'm in LibreOffice. I've got my sort of font family list drop down opened up, and there are my G's, and none of them is Go Big. Okay. So let me close that. So here is the script that I want to tell you about. Comment, or bin bash, shebang, comment. Okay, here we are, 4. So I am creating a folder name, and I call it font_folder, and then after that I am echoing out a random number that will be part of the folder name. So I just want to create a folder, move into that folder, do my work in that folder, then sort of come out and eliminate that folder. And so, and I just want to make sure that it's not the name of a folder that I might possibly have for some other reason. So that's the purpose of the random number, to create something that I'm pretty sure won't exist in the system. So font_folder, some random number, and I create a variable with that name, so I'm remembering it. And then in line 5, I am making a directory with that name. In line 6, I'm moving into that directory that I've just made. It doesn't matter where I am as long as I have the permissions. So you can be in home, you could be in documents, you could be in downloads, it doesn't matter. Okay, so then what is next? So I have a URL where I have on my website where I placed this zip file, but in number 9, I'm telling you where I originally got this font file from, the sort of the PC man website. All right, so in 10, I'm establishing a URL for this zip file for this font. So I have that as a variable called URL. In 11, I am using the base name command to grab from URL just that last piece of it, the name of the file. So I know it's like non-local name, the URL, so I can go and grab it, and then I know its local name when I've downloaded it. And then in 12, I'm using the wget command to go get the file. So I go get the file, and also with the variable file, I know its local name, and I can refer to it and work with it. A different approach to wget is curl. In curl, if I want curl brings it down, but so say I curled a text file, it sort of brings it down and sort of like spits it out on the screen. It's almost like a non-local, a remote cat sort of thing. So that if you want the file remembered, then you need to add an option, and that option is -o. So in 13, that was commented out because I'm using the wget approach. But as an alternative approach, I could say curl, then $ the URL, and then the -o option, and then I want to give it a local name. And I'm using here again file. Now, if I used curl, I could just give it its own name, and I wouldn't have to worry about giving it the name it had up above. So that was more of a wget thing. Okay, so I have now at this stage in 12 brought down the zip file. In 16, I am using the unzip command with this local file name $file to unzip, to bring out what was zipped up in that file. I have the -o overwrite option here, and this overwrite option is sort of overkill here, in that I'm only bringing down one zip file, and so there's nothing really, and I've just created a brand new folder. So there's nothing really here that needs to be overwritten. But in a variation on this script, I might bring down a number of zip files containing fonts and unzip them. And then these zipped up files often have a like font.txt or readme or some common thing rather than the explicit font file will have a different name, of course, but there'll be some maybe description file that will have the same name. And the -O is just giving you the system sort of permission to overwrite. So not necessarily in this particular script, but if you were adding a looping feature, depending how you're handling the looping feature, you might need the overwrite option. So now we have brought down the zipped file, we've unzipped the file, and now we're ready to work with the TTFs, the true type fonts. And we want to move any of these files that we just unzipped over to the location where we have such font files, and that's user share fonts true type. That's not a location that is sort of under my user's control, so I've added the word sudo. I don't know the name of the font. Sometimes when the font file comes down, they might have a TTF for the font, and they might have another for the italics or the bold or something like that. So I'm using a wildcard, and I'm sending over anything that is TTF. So I'm assuming that it's that type of font that I'm downloading, a true type font, because I'm sending it to the true type section. So if this were some other kind of font, I'd be in trouble. The script wouldn't work. But one thing that occurs is that sometimes I download fonts and the files are small TTF and the other one's a capital TTF. So I made two versions, lines 20 and 21, to copy if it were small or if it were large to send it to that location. And in 22 and 23, I have commented out, but I could also use here a move instead of a copy. And again, it's sort of like wget and curl. They're not exactly the same, but they get in this instance, the same job done. So now we brought down the zipped file, we've unzipped the file, we've sent the TTFs to the appropriate place. I'm going to move out of that folder I made with a cd ... So moving back up to the parent. And then I am going to remove with an RF, with a recursive and forcing the name of that folder. So that will get rid of the recursive will go into the folder and get rid of everything in the folder, and then we'll sort of get rid of the folder itself. And then more comments, and then my final step in this process is to run this fc cache command, which actually does once the font files are in the right location, sort of like makes the system recognize that they are there and makes the fonts available. So let's see how we do. This is a font install. So I'm going to bash font _ install.sh. And there was a sudo in there, so it's asking for my password, which I've just entered. And now that is all the fc cache that you see at the end. And I could have suppressed this output, but I did not. Where are we at here? So here's some of the bringing it down. So this is some of the response of the wget. A little bit of, here's the response to the unzip. Here is the sudo for the copy. And then here is the output of the fc cache. And let's cross our fingers and hope that there is, under the G's, a go big font now. So I now have, let me make it big. So I have a Go Big font available now. So that's what I wanted to show you, this script. Um, just a sequence of things, a wget, an unzip, a copy, could have been a move, the wget could have been a curl, a moving out of a folder, deleting a folder, running the font installing command. That's what I want to show you. Thanks for your attention.